Now that's not period correct though, right? I mean,
I'm not really sure if it's period correct or not. I'm not sure which one to call this, either Das Katze or Miss Kitty.
hey, welcome to Flight Test. I'm Josh.
And I'm Steven.
And if you guys just recently watched the Gotha Gaggle, or what do they call it, Dawn Patrol?
Dawn Patrol, Gotha Gaggle, yeah.
You're gonna notice about 63 unique paint schemes that were incredible. Every single one was done by this gentleman here, and today we're gonna show you how in 5 easy steps you can go from making your foamy look simple to epic. You are literally limitless on what you can put on these planes when you do this method.
You can literally do whatever you want.
You made me, you heard how much I like steampunk.
Yeah.
And you made me an arrow that has complete steampunk. I mean, complete with FPV module, ports, the hat, and the goggles. You know I have one of these hats and goggles.
You do?
Except I don't even look half as good as the Gremlin with it. So
Gremlin looks good with that on.
It looks fantastic.
You can pull off that whole hat and goggle thing.
So you're going to show us how to do this in 5 easy steps.
Sure.
What's the first step?
First step is print out your graphics. You can create them however you want. There are a lot of applications out there. Just create your graphics however you want to do that. Print it out. I do suggest 24-pound bond paper or lighter. This is actually a heavier weight paper.
Some people use 20-pound, right?
20-pound, 24-pound, that range seems to be sufficient. I do recommend doing something like Office Max. They do it in 11 by 17. Keeps the amount of tiling you have to do down, which makes it a lot easier of a build.
Now this is the beautiful thing here. We do a lot of talks about speed build kits, and we talk about plans built, and we encourage people to try it. Here's a major motivating factor, because the easiest way to do this is when you are scratch building. So if you guys want to get into scratch building, this is right around the corner for you, because you're basically taking your plans, you're decorating them, and now your plans are actually your skins.
Because I usually take the flight test plans, and when I create the graphics, basically it's almost like a cookie cutter.
Yeah.
You don't see the stuff on the outside edges. It's making what we call a clipping path, and this then becomes my plan.
So you got your plans created. You're gonna
got your plans created, and what I've done here is I've already cut out the two pieces to our horizontal stabilizer. And what I'm going to do now is one piece I'm going to glue on foam, just like it is here, with its outside edge still intact. The other piece, I'm actually going to cut it out first.
Okay.
With a single edge razor blade and a hard edge ruler. But after that, I'll go in with the curved pieces, and I will actually just use scissors to cut out the edges. I find it at least a lot easier to do curves with these scissors as opposed to doing it with an X-Acto or a razor blade. Now on my plans, I usually design them most of the time with either the elevator cutouts and the flaps. I try to leave those on here. On this particular plan, it's interesting to note, right here, you have where your vertical stabilizer is going in. I've eliminated the two little cutouts from the plans where it goes to the fuse, because you don't want those showing up in the top of your elevator. So when I actually cut this, I'm only going to cut it through here, but not through here. So that way you got a nice clean elevator on the top without any extra superfluous plan lines falling out. So I've got the two pieces cut. Now I need a piece of foam. Anybody know where I can find foam?
All right, so you got your pieces cut out.
Yep.
Now you got to go ahead and take your piece of foam. You got to remove the paper, right?
Yeah, you do. Move paper from both sides. Even if you have a graphic that's only going on one side where the other side's going to be blank, when you take paper, and you've probably done this, I don't know how many times, but when you take paper off of foam,
They shrink to different rates, don't they?
well, yeah, and what's going to happen is we're relieving the tension on this side, so you can see the wicked curl it puts it in. So I don't want to glue that skin on top of here, and then all of a sudden I've got this bowed out piece. So we definitely want to take the paper off of both sides of the foam.
So if you're only doing one side, do you take paper back on the other side?
I do.
Okay.
Depending on the side, though, but usually, yeah, you can. If you have a larger piece and get this all in one piece like this, you can actually reuse this. I mean, nobody's going to see the inside.
That's pretty
And
cool.
you're re-adhering it with 3M77 spray, so it really reinforces the bond.
If any of you guys don't know this, the way this is manufactured, this goes to a roller and it uses heat and pressure to apply the paper. There is no glue, and that's why it's so easy to remove. And also, when one edge starts to remove on the original Adams Ready board, it actually continues to peel. Now, our water-resistant foam adheres a lot better, but you can still remove it and do this exact same process.
So I'm going to start with the piece that actually I've left off the extra paper going around, okay? I'm gonna start with that piece, and I'm gonna use Super 3M77 spray. Probably one of the messiest processes about this is spray. Extra of these pieces of paper make wonderful drop cloths. You can use it that way. I'm just gonna spray it right down here real quick. I'm gonna go ahead and hit the back side of this with some 3M77.
So we're gonna describe that coat. I would describe that coat as a medium coat.
And then if you're, you know, conserving foam, get it. And again, start with one side and then just move your hand all the way up. It's a little more difficult with the larger pieces, but if you start on one side and just lower the piece as you're going, usually you come out with, I mean, there's no wrinkles or anything in that. I'm gonna trim it down just a hair, just so it's easier to work with. And at this point, what I'm gonna do is I'm actually now gonna cut the skin completely out of the foam. So that way my first piece has perfect alignment. And go slow. It's safer to go slow, and you'll make better cuts that way.
Definitely make sure you use a sharp blade too. If you use a dull blade, it's going to tear the paper more than it's going to cut the paper.
Exactly. I get these from your big box department stores, single edge. I think that's lasts me I don't know how many years, but it's like $14 for like 100 blades. So curve pieces, that's when I switch over to a little X-Acto, but this allows me to go in, and now I'm just going to go in after the curves. Touching up these planes and handling the edges, you can either use Sharpie, works really well. Just find a close blending color. I usually wait to cut out any larger pieces before I put on the second one. Now this is probably the hardest part to this. Everything's pretty easy. Number one, double check. See, I got it on the wrong side. Gotta flip that around. But it seems to be easier for me to line these up on the edges, get it where you want it, line it up, and then just hold down one side. Hold down one side, peel the skin back, hit it with some 3M77 on one side. Again, at least a foot away so none of the propellants in here eat your foam. You hit it with one side, then just lay this right back over it. Now, if you go off a little bit, you can always move it. And also on 3M77, if you screw up, you get some second chances on occasion. So I'm going to line it back on the non-adhesive side again. Some people don't realize this, but there is a little working time with 3M77. It allows you to go back in and correct any mistakes that you might have made. Now, the only thing I have left to do is this little flap, which I was holding on to for alignment purposes. Hit it with some 3M77, boom, and you're done. And that's the basics of reapplying a skin to a piece of foam.
So just to recap here, first step, you're going to go ahead and design your format. Second step, you're going to go ahead and print that out, and you're also going to remove the paper from your foam. Third step, cut out, if you have a two-sided object, you're going to be cutting out one side and then leaving the other side just kind of trimmed with a little bit of fat on it, right?
Yep.
And then after you cut out your piece totally, you're going to apply the second side.
You got it.
This not only makes the plane look beautiful, but it also makes it much more durable. So this is a cool thing. We got to do the Gotha Gaggle with you wonderful folks. What an awesome experience that was. And every single scheme was different. You designed every one of those.
Yeah, there's 61 total schemes. There's 62 in the Gotha Gaggle. I did 61. Joel Cannon did his own.
Well, one thing we want to encourage you guys to do, go ahead and imagination's the limit. You can put almost any scheme on anything. Friends, get creative, go do something. And Steve, thank you for sharing this with us, brother.
Thanks, Josh.
And friends, we got something really, really special here. We don't do skins, but Steve does. Look for a link down below. We're hoping to make a donation page where you can go ahead and download skins that Steve has designed for a small donation and be able to make your foamies epic.